And welcome. We are back in freshman English, and we are as well back with Romeo and Juliet. This is Act 2, and we will now try to finish with Act 2. You're in your hymnals on 846. We were yesterday just finishing up with Friar Lawrence's linguistic paddling of Romeo. What do I mean by that? Linguistic paddling of Romeo. What was Friar Lawrence saying to Romeo yesterday?
He looks with his eyes.
Stunned at the fact that the kid could be so in love with Rosaline and now have completely forgotten Rosaline and be totally into Juliet. Let's go ahead and finish up with the listening. We are on 846, and I believe we're somewhere close to lines between 70 and 75, if my memory serves me right.
Women may fall when there's no strength in men.
Thou tipp'st me off for loving Rosaline.
Don't you? Not for loving.
And that's me very love.
Not in a grave to lay one in, another out to have.
Prithee chide me not, her I love now doth grace for grace and love for love allow. The other did not so.
Oh, she knew well thy love did read by rote that could not spell. But come, young weaver, come, go with me. In one respect I'll thy assistant be. For this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancor to pure love.
Oh, let us hence I stand on sudden haste.
Wisely and slow, they stumble that run fast.
Now let's point out a couple of things real quickly for your notes. Why does Friar Lawrence decide to go along with this insane plan to marry these two kiddos? What does he say is the reason why? And what's this rancor word? What's this rancor word mean? What is rancor? Hatred, right. So the expectation is, if I can marry these two kids, the families will maybe come together. Question for your notes. Good idea or bad idea?
Good idea.
Do you have any sense Friar Lawrence might have been making some sense in his head?
Well, in his head, yeah.
Why?
Because he's thinking that if the one from each is being married, then their families will align.
Have you seen anything in Juliet's dad that suggests that if she runs off and marries against his will, or I mean without him knowing, that he's going to be happy about that, or he's going to be cool with that?
No.
What have you seen from Juliet's father that seems to suggest he wants her to choose her own way?
Paris.
Right? He did say to Paris, you know, my daughter's consent is part of this. When he met Romeo on the dance floor and found out that it was him, was he ready to throw him out of the party? No. Remember, Tybalt wanted to do it and he didn't want to throw him out. What about Mama?
She wants
Juliet,
to
Mom.
get married.
Do you have any sense that maybe she'll have a problem with Juliet marrying Romeo as opposed to Paris, and why? Mom is interested in what in regards to Paris?
Money.
You got it. Marrying Paris is a good match in terms of money. Romeo, the family has money, but Romeo can't have any currency. He's still too young, right? So we have a sense here, Friar Lawrence may be grabbing at straws, but why do you imagine in the end he goes ahead and decides to do this? What does he have a sense about Romeo?
He's going to do it anyway.
He's going to do it anyway. You got it. He's going to find a way to do this. Might as well just go along with it. Of course, this will be one of the ironies of the play, right? Is that the religious institution will decide to go along with this against or unbeknownst to the parents. Good idea or bad idea to go behind your parents' back and do things like this?
Usually a bad idea.
Yeah. What's this play seem to suggest about it?
Rebellion.
Really bad. Yeah, really bad. All right, let's go now quickly. I'm on 847. Mercutio and Benvolio got stood up the night before, and they did not ever see Romeo again, and they're going to play games now with Romeo once he shows up. Of course, what's the assumption for Mercutio?
He was with Rosaline.
Nope, not with Rosaline. Bailed because he was so sad. In other words, Mercutio assumes that Romeo, when they meet him, is like really sad and like, oh, dude, I'm so sick of hearing about these stupid girls that you fall in love with and they never return your texts. Of course, Romeo is in a whole different mood. Why?
Juliet.
Right, he knows he's going to get married later. Then Juliet's nurse shows up, and Mercutio's going to have a little bit of fun with her. He's going to tease her. In fact, he's going to insult her. But ultimately, the nurse is interested in talking to Romeo, and she wants to make sure that Romeo will not, now this is an interesting phrase, create a fool's paradise for Juliet. What does that mean? Do you have any sense what that means? A fool's paradise. She asks Romeo, are you for real with Juliet? She's the nurse. She's the protector of Juliet. Are you for real? Or are you going to create a fool's paradise? Do you have any sense, Mr. Butterfield, what that means, fool's paradise? In other words, what's the nurse worried about in regards to Juliet and Romeo?
Messing with their feelings.
He'll get what he wants, then leave.
That's it. In other words, are you really into this whole thing of Juliet and let's get married? Or are you just into Juliet, let's hook up? To which immediately Romeo will then say, no, I'm ready to marry her. The nurse is like, oh, okay. Then we're going to skip and we're going to have Juliet all alone waiting for the nurse to show up. And she's so aggravated that it takes the nurse so long to get there. When the nurse finally gets there, put it in your notes, she likes to play games with Juliet and tease Juliet, right? And not tell Juliet right away what Juliet wants to hear. What does Juliet want to hear from the nurse? Right. Are we going to get married or are we not going to get married? Finally, the nurse will confide, yes, we're going to get married. Everything is settled. And then at the end of Act 2, Romeo and Juliet will finally marry, but I want you to pay close attention to the language when Friar Lawrence talks about them getting married. Okay, we're just going to now listen to the rest of Act 2, and then we'll come back to make some notes. You should be reading closely. Again, we're on 847. Mercutio and Benvolio kind of having a good time with Romeo. First is at his expense, and then when he's there.
Where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home tonight? Not to his father's. I spoke with his man. Why, that same pale, hard-hearted wench, that Rosaline, torments him so that he will sure run mad.
Tybalt, the kinsman to old Capulet, hath sent a letter to his father's house.
A challenge on my life.
Romeo will answer it.
Any man that can write may answer the letter.
Nay, he will answer the letter's master, how he dares, being dared.
Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead. Stabbed with a white wench's black eye, run through the ear with a love song, the very pin of his heart, cleft with a blind boy's butt shaft. And is he a man to encounter Tybalt?
Why, what is Tybalt?
More than Prince of Cats. Oh, he's the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing quick song, keeps time, distance, and proportion. He rests, his name rests. 1, 2, and the third in your bosom. The very butcher that was so fun.
Mercutio likes to make fun of Tybalt.
A gentleman of the very first house, of the first and second cause. Ah, the immortal Passado, the punto universo, the high.
The what?
The pox of such animated, blistering, affecting fantasies, these new tuners of accent. By Jesu, a very good play. A very poor man. A very good war. Why is this not a lamentable thing, grandsire, that we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these fashion mongers, these pavlois, who stand so much of a new form that they cannot sit in these on the old bench. Oh, they're bons, they're bons.
Here comes Romeo. Here comes Romeo.
Without his roll like a dried herring. Oh, flesh, how art thou fishified? Thou art of a number, a trap flowing. Laura to his lady was a kitchen wench. Married, she had a better love to be right. Dido a dowdy, Cleopatra a gypsy, Herod hero, Hildings and harlots. Thisbe the grey eyes that were not to the purpose. Signor Romeo, bonjour! There's a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night.
Good morrow to you both. What counterfeit did I give you?
The slip, sir, the slip cannot conceive.
Pardon, good Mercutio. My business was great, and in such a case as mine, a man may strain courtesy.
That's as much as to say, such a case as yours constrains a man to bow in the hands.
Meaning to courtesy.
Thou hast most kindly hit it.
Ah, most courteous exposition.
I am very pink of courtesy.
A pink for flower.
Right.
Why then, if I find 12 flowers,
Your wit, follow me this jest now till thou hast worn out thy pump, that when the soul of it is warm, the jest may remain afterwards, solely singular.
Oh, single soul, just solely singular for the singleness.
Come between us, good Benvolio, my wit's face.
Switch is first, and I'll climax.
Nay, if our wits run with wild goose chase, I'm done. For thou hast more of a wild goose in one of thy wits than I'm sure I have in all my five. Was I with you there for the goose?
Thou wast never with me for anything when thou wast not there for the goose.
I will bite thee by the ear for that.
Horse head, good goose bite now.
Thy wit is a very bitter sweeting, it is a most sharp sauce.
And is it not then well served in to a sweet goose?
It is a wit of Cheveril that stretches from an inch now to an ell broad.
I stretch it out for that word broad, which added to the goose proves thee far and wide a broad goose.
Why, is not this better now than groaning for love? Thou art thou sociable. Thou art thou Romeo. Thou art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this dribbling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down to hide his bauble in a hole. Stop there, my desirous me to stop in my tail against the hair.
Oh, what else have made that tail large?
Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short, but I have come to the whole depth of my tail, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer.
Here's goodly gear.
Ah, the nurse.
Two, a shirt and a smock.
Peter,
And
my fan, Peter.
good Peter, to hide her face, for the fans of their day.
God ye good morrow, gentlemen.
God ye good den, fair gentlewoman.
Is it good then?
'Tis no less, I tell ye, for the bawdy hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
Out upon you, what a man are you?
One gentlewoman that God hath made himself to mark.
God, well said for himself to mark, what a gentleman. Can any of you tell me where I may find the young Romeo?
I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you have found him than he was when you sought him. I am the youngest of that name, for fault of a worse.
You say well.
Yes, the worst well. Very well to be there. Wisely.
You be he, sir. I desire some confidence from you.
She was entitled to aboard. So ho!
What is thou found?
Oh, no hair, sir. Unless a hair, sir, in a Lenten pie, that is something stale and hoar in every respect. And an old hair whore, and an old hair whore is very good meat in Lent. But hair that is hoar is too much for a score, and whore there it is spent. Romeo, you come to father's misery, you know that
I will follow you.
Farewell, ancient lady. Farewell, lady.
I pray you, sir, what saucy action was this that was before Mr. Oakley?
A gentleman nurse that loves to hear himself talk and will speak more in a minute than he will stand and do in a
I
month.
must speak anything against me. I'll take him down, and when lustier than he is, I'll 26 jacks. And if I cannot, I'll find those that shall. Scurvy knave. I'm none of his fledgels.
She got insulted by Mercutio.
Mercutio. Mates. And thou must stand by too and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure.
I saw the man use his pleasure. If I had my weapons of pretty every now, I warrant you I dare draw as soon as another man finds the occasion in a good quarrel. And the Lord on my side.
Oh, for God, I'm so vexed that every part of earth me quivers. Scurvy knave. But for you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bid me inquire you out. What she bid me say, I will keep to myself. But first let me tell you, if you should lead her in a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behavior, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak dealing.
Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee.
Your heart and in faith, I will tell her as much. Lord, she will be a joyful woman.
What wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mock me.
I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, if I take it, is the gentleman like other.
Bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall at Friar Lawrence cell be shrived and married. Here is for thy pay.
No, truly, sir. No, not the next day you shall. This afternoon, sir. Well, she shall be there.
And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. But in this hour my man shall be with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tattled stair, which to the high-top gallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell, be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell, commend me to thy mistress.
Now God in heaven bless thee. Hark you, sir.
What sayest thou, my dear nurse?
Is your man's secret? Did you ne'er hear say, two may keep counsel, putting one away?
Warrant thee, my man's as true as steel.
Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, when 'twas a little...
The old lady likes to talk, right?
Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain reign out abroad. But she would so, as lief she had told, a very doe to see him. I anger her sometimes until the Paris is like a man. But I warrant you, when
Romeo's
I
getting
see
tired
so,
of this.
she looks as pale as any clout in the versal world. Now does not Rosemary and Romeo both begin with a letter?
Aye, nurse, what of that? Both with an R.
Ah, mocker, that's the dog's name. R is for the No, I know it begins with some other letter. And she had the prettiest intentions of it. Of you and Rosemary. It would do you good to hear it.
Commend me to thy lady.
Aye, 1,000 times. Peter,
No?
take my fan and go before.
The clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half an hour she promised to return, but child, she cannot meet him. That's not so. Oh, she is lame. Lost heralds should be thoughts which 10 times faster glide than the sun's beams, driving back shadows over lowering hills. Therefore do nimble-pinioned doves draw love, and therefore has the wind-swift Cupid wings. Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey, and from 9 to 12 is 3 long hours, yet she is not come.
Taking too long, she
The warm,
says.
youthful blood should be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would band here to my sweet love and his to me. But old folks, many saying that they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, and pale as
Old
lead.
people go slow.
Oh, God, she comes. Oh, honey, nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him, send thy man away?
Peter, stay at the gate.
No, good sweet nurse. Oh, Lord, why look'st thou sad?
Uh,
The news be sad, yet tell the melody. If good, thou shamest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with so sour a face.
I'm weary. Give me leave a while. Aye, how my bones ache. What a chance have I had.
Would thou hadst my bones and I thy news, and they come up pretty speak, good goodness, speak.
What haste? Can you not stay a while? Do you not see that I'm out of breath?
How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say to me that thou art out of breath? The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say I then, I'll say the circumstance, let me be satisfied, is good or bad.
Well, you had made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo, no, not he. Though his face be better than any man's, yet his leg excels all men's. And for a hand and a foot and a body, though they be not to be talked on, yet they are past compare. He is not the flower of courtesy, but I warrant him as gentle as a lamb. All their ways won't serve God. What, have you dined at home?
No, but all this did I know before. What says he of our marriage? What of that?
Oh, how me headaches. What a head have I. It beats and it would fall in 20 pieces. Ooh, me back. Oh, no, to the side. Oh, me back. Be sure you're hard for sending me about to catch me death with jauncing up and down.
Faith, I'm sorry that thou art not well. Sweet man. What says my love?
Well, your love says like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, and a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous. Where is your mother?
Where is my mother? Why, she is within. Where should she be? How oddly thou repliest. Your love says like an honest gentleman, where is your mother?
Oh, God, lady dear, I was so hot. Many come up, I trow. Is this the poultice for me aching bones? Henceforward, do a message yourself.
She is such a coil. Come.
you can tell the relationship between them is close, right? She likes to tease her.
Leave to go to Shrift today?
I have.
Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence Hill. There stays a husband to make you a wife. Now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. They'll be scarlet straight at any news. Are you to church? I must another way to fetch a ladder, by the which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it is dark. I have the drudge and toil in your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. Go, I'll to dinner, hie you to the cell.
High, to high fortune, honest man, farewell.
Alright, here we go. The final scene of the act now. The marriage. Watch what Friar Lawrence says, though, about this. Some foreshadowing
So
that's negative.
smile the heavens upon this holy act, that after hours with sorrow chide us not.
Amen, amen. But come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight. Do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death do what he dare. It is enough, I may but call her mine.
These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in his own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. Therefore love moderately. Long love doth so, too swift arrives as tardy is too slow. Here comes the lady. Oh, so light a foot will ne'er wear out the everlasting flint. A lover may bestride the gossamers that idle in the wanton summer air, and yet not fall. So light is vanity.
Good even to my ghostly confessor.
Romeo shall thank thee, daughter, for us both.
Much to him. Else is his thanks too much.
Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like mine, and that thy skill be more to blazon it, then sweeten with thy breath this May thy air, and let rich music's tongue unfold the imagined happiness that both receive in either by this dear encounter.
Conceit more rich in matter than in words brags of his substance, not of ornament. They are but beggars that can count their worth. But my true love is grown to such excess, I cannot sum up the sum of half my wealth.
Come with me, and we will make short work, for by your leaves you shall not stay alone till Holy Church incorporate two in one.
Yeah, in other words, we're not going to leave you alone until we've married you for obvious reasons, etc., etc. I want to go back to page 856 real quickly and notice what Friar Lawrence says at the very beginning of this quote-unquote marriage. So smile the heavens upon this holy act. What's that mean? What's that mean?
God bless you.
I hope God blesses what we're about to do. Look at the next line. That after hours with sorrow chide us not means what?
So the future does not.
Yeah, I hope this works out. Which doesn't seem to bode real well, right? Notice Romeo's like, yeah, let's go. Amen, great prayer. Okay, hey, come on, let's go, let's get this thing done. Notice Romeo, but come what sorrow can, interesting lines, because you already know what's about to happen. Come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight. Put it in your own words. What's he said?
It doesn't, the sorrow doesn't
No matter how bad it gets,
equal.
it doesn't equal the joy that I'm feeling right now. Okay? Right? Notice, do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death do what he dare. It's enough, I may but call her mine. Whoa, what's he saying? This is interesting language. He says, even if we marry and I'm dead by tomorrow, it's okay. Why? Because I'm with her right now. Notice Friar Lawrence comes back and says, I'm not so sure. These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. In other words, he says, I kind of have a sense that this is coming together really violent and fast. And a lot of times when that happens, well, where does fire come from? They ignite. There's an ignition, right? The sweetest, look at the next line. This is interesting. The sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. What does he mean by this? Take the thing you love to eat the most, and then eat it until you puke because you've eaten so much of it. And what do we know about that? See, and some of you can tell stories of this. When I was a kid, I really liked this, and then I ate too much of it. One of the famous stories, of course, at fair time is cotton candy. Eat too much cotton candy and then go on some ride, and then it gets nasty, and then, I can't even stand the smell of cotton. Why would Friar Lawrence say this to these young kids? Why would he say that to these young kids right now? Therefore, love moderately means what?
Don't rush it.
Take it slow.
Take it slow. What's ironic about him telling them, counseling them to take it slow?
He's marrying them.
Dude, he's marrying them right now. I mean, this is the kind of language where you'd say, okay, why don't you guys like date for a year or two and then let's do this marriage thing. No, it's not going to happen. Therefore, love moderately. Long love doth so, too swift arrives, as tardy is too slow. In other words, this can end up kind of going bad, bad news. I hope you know what you're doing kind of thing. Do you think Friar Lawrence is responsible? Is he a responsible adult in this situation, do you think? See, this is going to be one of the difficult things about this play, is it seems to suggest that maybe the religious person should have known better and should have counseled. What's one thing that Friar Lawrence could have done that maybe could have helped these two kids? What do you think? What could he have done? Well, yeah, I mean, Wenders is right. He could have done something to keep them apart. Notice that's what he says even when he's marrying them. Whoa, 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 this is way, way too emotionally tight. We've got to handle this. But what's something that he could have said to the two kids, do you think? Is there any way he could have kept them apart?
Probably not.
Probably not.
So how could he have done anything to keep this from happening?
Not marrying them.
In what way, though? Obviously not marrying them, but in what way? What could he have done? What do you think? You got it. You got it. He could have said, all right, listen, I know that you guys now are a thing, but here's the deal. I am going to be a responsible adult and tell both of your sets of parents. Why doesn't he do that? Why doesn't he do that?
Nobody likes that person.
Well, no, right, nobody likes that person. Now, wait a minute. Friar Lawrence isn't the only one who knows about this now. Who else is another adult that knows about this? She knows too. Why do you think she lets this happen?
Because she knows how happy it makes Juliet.
There it is. Both of them, Friar Lawrence and the nurse, love Romeo and Juliet, for each, and they want to see them happy. Right? So it's really hard to be the voice of reason to say, I realize you're like way happy, but this is something you need to hear. So they just go along with it. And in the process of going along with it, are somewhat implicated in what happens in the end and what happens in the end. Yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good, right? It ain't good. So, all right, we come back.